Ward. 11-3 are the records, and it's actually game 2, pardon me, as Joe Lossett is currently up a game.
Well, if it's a 22-minute game 1, it's no surprise that the 1 is next to Joe Lossett's name here.
Probably took him a little while to find a win condition, honestly.
But Daniel Ward, a good player in his own right. I've played him a few times. Should be a good matchup.
Temple Garden going to start here for Dan Ward. It's Nurse's Mind for Joe in an Expedition map. Could have Tron as soon as turn number 2.
You know, and I would think things get just tougher for Daniel after sideboard. Joe gets access to extra spell skites, Nature's Claim, cards that, I mean, on Daniel's side, you don't want to see.
It's really hard. There's an Urza's Tower. There's a copy of Spellskite.
We could turn 3 Tron our opponent, or we could just play Spellskite.
Yeah.
And getting Spellskite down before any auras are on the Ledgewalker is really important to this matchup. So had Daniel gotten 1 aura on Silhana Ledgewalker, that would mean that at the very least, he could put Daybreak Coronets on the Ledgewalker because Spellskite cannot take them.
Yep.
But now there's no auras in play. Spellskite is just lights out until Daniel removes it.
There's a Gaddock Teague there for Dan Ward. We'll go back over to Joe Lossett now. It looks like he's got the full Tron already in hand. You see a mine and a tower in the battlefield. Looks like Power Plant and Grove of the Burn Willows.
Sneaky here by Joe. The Expedition map is a ruse. And to get around Gaddock Teague, from Joe, we could see Pyroclasm and we could see Oblivion Stone.
Yep. You do have outs. It's annoying, but you do have outs, and Stirrings can help find some answers to that. So take a look at the top 5 cards here. Will Joe off of Ancient Stirrings take a colorless card with, and that can be a land, of course. Ghost Quarter among the options here for Lossett.
You know, Ancient Stirring's a card that I think it took a long time for the modern community to realize that this is just one of the most powerful cantrips in the format. It originally was a Tron-only card. Now we see, you know, Amulet Bloom, Lantern Control, a lot of other decks starting to pick it up.
Fine. See if Joe likes what he's looking at here. Gaddock Teague is going to be the headache right now. Well, Oblivion Stone makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, and that was the one we're talking about. There are so many Tron matchups where the fact that Tron just has this catch-all sweeper makes it such a unique deck in Modern and just gives it so much play. Oblivion Stone is so great for the deck.
Here comes the Ledgewalker and Gaddock Teague. Spellskite going to jump in front of Gaddock Teague. 1 damage will be dealt there by Ward.
So I imagine if you're Joe, and this is something that Tron does, rather than play and crack Oblivion Stone, it's more the power part about Oblivion Stone is that you play it and then you don't crack it.
Depends on the situation, but for the most part, yeah. And the nice thing here for Joe is he is in a really cozy situation because he can play Oblivion Stone, not crack it in this spot because he doesn't have much of a reason to. He's at 18.
He's taking 1 a turn.
Yeah, but also he's got Spellskite to defend it against a Nature's Claim or whatever nonsense artifact removal Ward could have outside of Crow's Grip.
Oh wow, yeah.
So in this instance, if I'm in Joe's spot, I would just play the O-Stone with mana available to blow it, and then if I don't need to, cool, I can put a Fate counter on the Spellskite and move forward accordingly, get myself out of this Gaddock Teague soft lock that I'm in, and then let it rain with big cards.
I'll tell you what, no copies of Crow's Grip in Daniel's 75.
Well, then life is good.
Boggles, the green-white hexproof deck, a very powerful proactive game plan, but of the linear decks in Modern, it's one of the ones that is the most susceptible to hate cards.
We're going to be heading back Joe Lossett's way here in just a moment. As he did search up an Urza's Tower. The reason, of course, that he did that is because he's already got the Tron in his hand. There's the Urza's Power Plant. Tron is online.
All right, so 8 mana is enough to play and crack Oblivion Stone.
And there is the O-Stone.
And now, similarly, because he has time, there is another mode on Oblivion Stone that I wouldn't be surprised to see him use.
Yeah, Fate counter on Spellskite's a real option right now. Again, Spellskite's defending the Oblivion Stone. So doesn't have to worry about artifact removal if he's going to put a Fate counter on something. And for right now, Ward, all he can do is just play lands and pass, and that's not going to be much of a surprise because Spellskite is stopping things like Ethereal Armor, things like Daybreak Coronet, any of those Umbras, any of that stuff from coming down. So if you had to guess what Daniel's hand is right now, you'd assume all auras.
I mean, and so at this point, if you're Joe, what you can do is you can just play some Urza's Towers, Sylvan Scrying for Eye of Ugin up Emrakul, and then Emrakul your opponent. I don't think he's going to die in the meantime.
Yeah, Emrakul, Ulamog, whatever. Again, he's at 17.
Conduit of Ruin, that's something he's actually running this weekend.
Yeah, not seeing that one often in Tron. Here's Sylvan Scrying. Might be time to go get the Eye of Ugin. Joe might be thinking there's his power plant too.
Now, is there reason to get a power plant as opposed to just more towers?
The only real reason I would want to do that is just in the off chance that my opponent is playing Tectonic Edge or Ghost Quarter, so they can break up the Tron. I think what Joe's doing right now is because he's got this game so secure, is that he's just searching up backup pieces.
Yeah, I think he has double Tron if you look at all the cards in his hand.
And
so
if
that makes sense.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then that's perfectly fine. Because now he's got backup Power Plant, he's got backup Mine. There's a Chromatic Star. And he'll just pass the turn back.
Joe Lossett making this look easy.
It's a very, very good matchup for Tron as long as your deck cooperates even a little bit.
I mean, Daniel has hit for 1 with Ledgewalker 4 times, and that's been the story of the game.
Yeah. At least on his side.
Yeah.
The story on the game for Joe's side is a little bit different. Here's a Nature's Claim.
Yeah.
And now this is the spot here where I want to redirect over to Spellskite. And if he's got a second Nature's Claim, good beats. But if Joe has a backup O-Stone, then it doesn't really matter, and I think he might.
All right, so those Fate counters are not Oblivion Stone specific. If he blows up an Oblivion Stone and Joe plays another one, the Fate counters are still good.
Yeah. And Joe gonna draw.
And now Daniel, I think reading it to check just how the Fate counters work.
Mm-hmm. How much trouble am I in? Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
There's another O-Stone.
Joe's hand, 2 more Tron pieces and a Sylvan Scrying. I'm feeling like it might be time for the eye.
Yep. In this situation, as you see Joe play another Mine, he's got another Power Plant in his hand. I don't think there's any other land to get. I'm very surprised he's getting Ghost Quarter. I will say that.
Now, is there a chance he's boarded out the copy of Eye of Ugin in this matchup?
Potentially. I'm very surprised to see him searching up Ghost Quarter here because Ghost Quarter, the only thing that it checks is Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that says the Eye of Ugin's in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, against a lot of the unfair decks in Tron, the ones where you don't need to grind, it's not unreasonable to board out Eye of Ugin.
Here's a copy of Stony Silence. And this is part of the reason I like leaving Eye in the deck, because even though Joe's in a pretty commanding spot, you need to kill your opponent. You want to clear him out. You don't want to give him as many draw steps as possible. And Stony Silence is a card that this deck always has after sideboard.
Yeah, I mean, Stony Silence, it is the foil to Oblivion Stone. It's not like you can use Oblivion Stone to knock that card out.
And so now Joe is forced to actually activate Oblivion Stone. Going to kill the creature. Stony Silence is going to then resolve, so it'll be on the battlefield. Spellskite gets to hang around because of the Fate counter that was on it.
Yeah, but Spellskite now is just a 0 it can't be activated, so we're not as thrilled about it. And we see Daniel should be reloading very quickly.
Yep, it's a Slippery Boggle, and now it's a copy of Ethereal Armor. And now he is trying to reload. So Lossett's going to have to draw a card here. Oblivion Stone is the draw, and that one doesn't help anymore.
You know, we thought this game was sewed up, and it may be a situation of sideboarding that is going to deal Joe in. Not having that Eye of Ugin is punishing him.
He still might be fine. Like, he's scrying again, so we're going to find out for sure if he has Eye or not now. Okay, he definitely doesn't have Eye in his deck.
It's another Ghost Quarter. It's in the main, just has decided to board it out.
Yeah, the only matchup I like boarding Eye out against is Burn, because you just don't have
never.
time. Yeah, and like Burn and Infect. And even against Infect, I kind of want it, because if somehow I've stabilized the game, then I just want to find like Ulamog immediately and kill them.
Well, I understand, because against Infect, I understand this situation where Joe would just keep getting more Ghost Quarters is not unreasonable.
Confirm this is game 2, not game 3. All right, Daybreak Coronet as well.
Dan's going to end this one real quickly.
Well, if Joe doesn't have anything, he certainly is. His creature's got protection from creatures, so.
So it is, right now, the Ethereal Armor is +4. Spirit Mantle makes it 5. Coronet makes it 8. Boggle is 9. So I believe we have 9 powers swinging in. Lifelink, Vigilance, Pro Creatures, First Strike.
It's got
Hexproof.
It's got a lot of text.
If you ever played on Moto, it's really fun because it just lists them all out on the card. And you can't even read it, just goes ... at the end of it.
And attack for 8, by the way. Actually, no, it should be 9
should be
because,
9.
because of the Stony
Silence
Silence.
is counted, yeah.
So we'll make sure the light totals are correct there. It should be an attack for 9, not 8. Stony Silence counts as an enchantment, so please let them know.
Can be missed. It's not, Ethereal Armor does not count auras, it actually counts enchantments. So you get another one.
And Joe's going to Ghost Quarter himself on the upkeep. Ghost Quarter his Grove.
Just trying to thin out his deck.
Yep.
It's And I know the deck thinning argument is, the math behind it is not very big.
Yeah, I mean, there are some situations where you do need to do this. Joe can die next turn.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to.
The draw here, I did not get a great look. Expedition map, it doesn't find anything useful.
Can't even use it.
Also true.
Has exactly 15 mana. Boy, would be a great spot for an Emrakul.
If it's an aura, the game ends. Yeah, game's over.
Rancor, that'll add 3 more, so the 9 becomes 12. That's lethal.
Board your Eye of Ugin back in.
An expensive lesson here for Joe Lossett. But the good news is that it's only cost him a game and not necessarily a match.
Yeah, or top 8. Yeah, because Joe's hand right now is just a bunch of lands and artifacts he can't use. So Dan Ward able to make a comeback there thanks to Stony Silence, and now they're going to shuffle up and get ready for game number 3. And we're going to watch Joe now see if he go back to the back to the drawing board, excuse me, because that's not like an anomaly what just happened there. Like
that's how it plays.
That's just your deck is redundant in being able to find specific lands. That's part of the appeal of playing Tron, because you can specifically find your Tron pieces redundantly. And so once you get control of the game, you have to close the game as fast as possible. The way to close the game fast as possible is to search for a land, because that's what your deck does best. You have Scrying, you have Eye, you have Ancient Stirrings, all these cantrips, and Eye is the way that you do that. There are situations where Eye is a complete disaster, obviously, because
it doesn't make mana.
It doesn't do anything, but you need it to actually be able to win and win games quickly. You saw him draw a map. You saw him draw 2 Scryings when the game was, I don't want to say up for grabs. He had control of the game until Stony Silence came, but if he had an Eye at any point there, the conversation is completely different. He's 12-3.
And I understand it too, because if you're saying that you board out Eye against Burn and you board out Eye against Infect, it makes sense to me that if Joe hasn't played this matchup much, they'd say, well, this matchup feels a lot like Burn and Infect. Maybe I'm supposed to board out the Eye. The difference is subtle, because the pump spells from Burn, or sorry, the pump spells rather from Infect and from Burn are instants, and the pump spells from Hexproof are permanents, which that's just enough of a difference to change the decision, on how the match plays out.
So Joe did go back to the drawing board. Don't know if he grabbed the Eye of Ugin or not. We'll find out soon enough. And worth noting, these players don't really have a ton of time left, and you don't want to draw right now. I mean, you don't really want to draw ever, but you certainly don't want one right now. While these players do shuffle up, we will talk about the StarCityGames.com holiday sale. December 1st to January 1st, all month long, we got cool stuff going on. Right now, up to 20% off of select promo lands. That'll end Monday at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time. New items added at 11 a.m. East Coast time, Monday through Friday. And, of course, stocking stuffers all month long. StarCityGames.com for more information. Check the website all December long for some sweet specials. Again, this one does end Monday at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time. Game number 3 on the way here between Joe Lossett and Daniel Ward. Both these players certainly in top 8 contention. For Dan Ward, he's been playing Green-White Hexproof for a very, very long time. If you've ever run into him in a modern tournament, he doesn't even consider switching decks. He loves the deck. He's been playing it for, I would say, over a year now. And for Joe, he's been playing Green-White Tron here on the SCG Tour for a while, as well as his modern weapon of choice. So 2 players playing decks they know pretty well. We'll see if Joe did bring back in the Eye of Ugin or not, as these players do draw up their opening hands here for game number 3.
If I were in Joe's situation, even if it was wrong, I'd board an Eye of Ugin, because I'm just not going to lose 2 games the same way.
Well, in situations like that, Magic players have a term called being results-oriented.
Oh, yeah, I'd be very results-oriented right now.
Correct. Everyone says don't be results-oriented, bigger picture, all of that stuff. Well, the reason you lost that game is because you didn't have Eye in your deck. And so you can draw a conclusion of the conclusion to draw isn't, I got unlucky because I didn't draw a win condition. It's like, no, you did draw a win condition. Your win condition was Sylvan Scrying.
Yeah, I mean, it's way more than just, it's way more than that. If he had Eye, that game was trivial.
Yeah. He's 12-3. He's sitting comfy. Maybe he's drawing in the top 8 next round. Now he's taking a mulligan, as is Dan. And now who knows what's going to happen.
And I mean, if you look at mulliganing, Hexproof mulligan's much better than Tron, really.
Yeah.
The deck, if Joe doesn't interact, Daniel could kill him with a 4-card hand.
Both decks do take advantage of the Vancouver mulligan rule quite a bit, though. I would say every deck in Modern does, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's varying degrees, but I agree. It's been very good for the format.
Both players going to take a look at their 6 cards. Again, Lossett is on the play here.
Lossett already in the Players' Championship after the Saturday results, but, looking for a lot more this weekend.
He's on the cusp of top 8. Don't know if he'll be able to draw in next round or not. That's very much unclear at this point. But if he wins, he keeps the top 8 dreams alive, and that's all that matters right now, is both players will scry from the Vancouver Mulligan. It's a Grove, it's a Chromatic Star, and we're underway here in game number 2 for Dan. It's just a land that enters the battlefield tapped in Temple Garden.
Yeah, no Glade Cover Scout or Slippery Boggle is a real victory for Joe. Now, of course, the concern is there a Stony Silence?
Yep. If there is, and there is, he's in a lot of trouble.
Joe kept a 1-land hand with Expedition Map and Chromatic Star. He did not hit the second land, and now I imagine his whole hand is going to be artifacts.
This is going to be pretty hard. This is doable, but it's hard. It really depends on what Dan kept, because it wouldn't surprise you at all that Dan just kept a hand based off of Stony Silence to buy him time because it's so good against Tron.
Yeah. I mean, Joe plays Nature's Claims, and if he gets one of them, it's off to the races.
Yeah, he's unlocked. He can function again. There's a Glade Cover Scout.
Talking about being unlocked, here's another deck that just got good.
And Joe has Nature's Claim.
Oh, wow, this is great. So
Can't cash that in, can't cash that in, can't cash that in. Stony Silence on the battlefield.
yeah. But no, this is who, so he's letting the Scout resolve, and when Daniel goes for Spider Umbra, now we're claiming the Stony Silence and getting, this is, okay, this is so well played by Joe, because I'll tell you what, if I had Nature's Claim, I would have blown up that Stony Silence and cracked my map and gone on with my life, but Joe, just getting maximum value here off it.
Smart play. It's a very smart play, and now his deck is unlocked, which is very important.
Aura on Spellskite, he can even steal Coronets now.
Yep. Dan thinking about playing land, doesn't though.
It's got Totem Armor.
Oblivion Stone to draw.
And he has the Pyroclasm here. He could sweep away the Glade Cover Scout.
Yep. This is a best case scenario here for Joe. This is all lining up pretty well now. Now he's just got to find the Tron pieces. He's going to crack the map. And I'm perfectly fine not casting Pyroclasm this turn because you have Spellskite out there to defend and you have a Totem Armor on it. So getting Tron piece number 1 is probably ideal. You just want to make sure you do hit your land drop. I also like cracking the star there, or the sphere, because you want to influence your draw as much as possible about what Tron piece you want to search up.
Yeah, were
with
the draw
map.
off sphere to get you a Tron piece, you want to make sure you get a different one.
Yep. So I like all the sequencing that's basically been done here by Joe.
Yeah, one thing I really do like about Tron is, you know, a lot of the skill in it is in the sequencing of cantrips.
The entire deck really is sequencing. It's very unfamiliar. It's very unfamiliar for people who just play Standard, for example, where, you know, it's a lot of creature combat and then, you know, Kolaghan's commands, Ochi's commands and stuff like that. Tron is, I don't want to say it's not playing Magic, it's just a different form of Magic. Your goal, because you're a 20-land deck, and realistically you're 19 because one of them is Ayavugan, is to maximize your chances at hitting Tron as often as possible, as early as possible. So that's where the spheres and the stars and the relics and all the cycling does come in.
So he's still inscrying for a mine here. Joe Lossett actually not going for Pyroclasm on Glade Cover Scout. I suppose no real reason as long as Spellskite's in play.
Yeah, I think he's fine just leaving Pyroclasm in his hand. In order for Dan to kind of get around this, he either needs to kill Spellskite.
Twice.
Yeah, find a Stony Silence, or try to go wide with more threats, and if the go wide plan comes up, all right, just Pyroclasm your stuff away. So I love it.
Well, Spellskite's a 1/5. It can block and kill the Scout.
And now here's Oblivion Stone. It's not the go wide plan stinks.
Joe some redemption here, may get to shut down Ward. Now he's got to win quickly. 5 minutes left in the round. He found a third Tron piece, but it was a copy of Power Plant.
The good thing about Tron is that once it actually plays a threat, it does not take long to win.
No, you see Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger in his hand.
Yeah.
Were he to get a tower, he can immediately cast it.
There's Windswept Teeth. Oh, never mind. He played Horizon Canopy. Joe's correct. Pass the turn back.
Sometimes you forget Horizon Canopy's a land drop because it feels a lot like a spell.
Yep. Third Power Plant, 6 mana. Pass the turn back. Scrying, map, tower, turn it on. Those are the draws he's looking for.
I mean, we're getting to the point. He has his lock on Daniel is so hard right now that we could just see Grove, Mine, Forest.
Yeah, you can see
Ulamog.
just the hard cast Ulamog.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
No tower necessary. There's a Ledge Walker. Pass the turn back.
Well, Daniel's got a clock now.
Fake counter's going to go on Spellskite. Let's that'll draw a card. That may have been the map.
Big news if it is. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yep. He can crack map now. Basic forest in any of those Tron lands. Tower will be 3 mana, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So close.
Yeah, a little short.
I think we'll be okay, though. Saw a fate counter added to Spellskite there by O-Stone.
Finally got Tron online now, so blowing O-Stone's easy. Looks like he has a backup O-Stone in hand. You see the Ulamog in hand. That's the plan for the next turn. And no 4 minutes is not a lot of time to get a game done. Plenty of time to get the game done for Ulamog.
Well, when Ulamog attacks, he exiles 20, so that's a pretty fast clock.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I do kind of like how the flavor on that card, you know, we saw the old Eldrazi have Annihilator, and it always feels like Ulamog, this new Ulamog has Annihilator, but he annihilates your deck instead.
Yeah. I like new Ulamog a lot. It's a really good card. Not a lot of decks can play it, obviously, but for Tron, it's a really good card. Dan gonna attack here for 1 with the Ledgewalker. And it looks like it's gonna be blocked.
Yeah, so Spider Umbra
That gives it reach.
doesn't just give it totem armor, it gives it reach.
Here's
And
Ulamog.
Daniel should know that. He's the hexproof player.
I think he was trying to get a point in. I think he was trying to slide it by him.
All right.
All right.
That's true. You cannot always count that your opponents know what Spider Umbra does.
That says Ledgewalker can't be blocked except by creatures with flying.
So that's actually been been errated.
It has been errated?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yep. Because reach is you may block as though you have flying.
All right.
So for the purposes of blocking.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it says, and it has reach. It can block creatures with flying. Sure. Fair enough, fair enough. A strange errata, but it'll work. Nature's Claim is going to take care of the Umbra. Ulamog did come in. Now it's looking to close the game out in very short order.
Yeah, hit 2 lands. I mean, not like Ulamog can really exile Daniel's creatures per se, but the attack should be good enough.
Yeah, can't take care of Glade Cover Scout, can't take care of Slippery Boggle, excuse me, Ledgewalker, any of those nonsense creatures from Hexproof.
We see the card from Battle from Zendikar, Ulamog here.
It's powerful. 10 mana, 10/10. Either it'll kill you with damage, or it'll kill you by milling you, but it's going to kill you. And the Indestructible, you'd think, doesn't come up a ton, but in combination with O-Stone, it actually kind of matters a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You can see Ward's hand here. A lot of auras over there.
Hexproof does have a weak spot in Spellskite.
It does. It does. Stony Silence is a good way to solve the problem. Path to Exile does a pretty good job of solving the problem. Lissette's going to cash in a Chromatic Sphere there to draw a card. Picked up a copy of Pyroclasm.
And you know, Daniel Ward, Mulligan 6, kept a hand with Stony Silence. That's what he can do.
Yeah. He kept a hand with Stony Silence. Joe kept a hand with Nature's Claim. One of those beats the other. Here comes Ulamog. Gonna mill 20 cards.
You see players here heading to time, but I just don't see Joe being unable to close this one out.
Yeah. Those are going to be exiled for good. Over to Ward we'll go. Daybreak Horn at the draw, and that's going to do it. Joe Lossette's going to win this match over Daniel Ward, 2-1. Green-Red Tron's going to take care of Green-White Hexproof from Lossett. He's going to move on to 11-3 here in Las Vegas. We'll see if he's able to draw or not. If things do cooperate, we will find out. But if he has to play, I have a feeling we'll be watching him. But it's a big win, either way for number 3 on